Heal the world, make this a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, but if you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Hello, everybody. I'm Lady Cheryl. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this episode, I'm going to continue with my series on how to grow cheap, healthy food for an emergency garden. Today, I'm going to show you how to grow corn and squash in a large container. I'm also going to share with you how I applied shade cloth to the corn that I'm growing in the ground. And I'm also going to share with you an update on the emergency garden food, as well as part one of my tour of the food forest. Okay, let's get started. Hey, let's get started. Okay, guys. As you can see here, my corn is in full sun. Some of them are leaning, some of them are doing good, especially the ones up here in the front. They're doing very well because they were already planted in full sun. Another neighbor is doing their lawn. But as you can see right here, I put some galvanized steel posts here. And then I have two over here. And right here is my shade cloth. 50%, just like what they were already under. And my spring clips. But before I put the cloth on the post, I'm going to water it. And I want to share something with you about watering. When it's real warm outside and you turn your water hose on, and this is at the back of the food forest, so I didn't want to go and haul rainwater this morning because really I don't feel like it. But when you turn your water hose on, and I've already done this because I've watered some plants, you want to make sure that you let your water run a few minutes because that water in that hose will be very hot and you can scald your plants because it's very warm down here. I don't know the exact temperature because I didn't check, and I will insert it. So water your plants really well only after you let the water run. You see, I secured on the right and the left the shade cloth because the fence will shade the body of the bed. So I have a little extra shade cloth extending down here. And I'm going to stretch this taunt and then I'll just clip it on. The sweet potatoes over here. Remember, I companion planted them with some summer savory seeds, and they're very tiny. So you want to keep your slips moistened. You don't have to put a lot of water on it, just a little. And remember, you're germinating seeds. Potatoes that are growing in the 3 containers that my son is going to move eventually. As you can see right there, I'm going in close. Beans are starting to sprout. So you cannot put these sweet potato slips in here and don't water them. You need to water them every day, just a little, for the first week. And keep in mind that you are sprouting seeds. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds in this one. These two, I guess, are getting more sun because there aren't any seeds coming up yet. But I can see the soil is moving, and when it starts to bubble up, like right there and right here, a seed is going to pop through. It'll probably be here by tomorrow. If it does, I'll bring it back and show you. It's Sunday, and I am out early looking at the corn, and it's doing pretty good. I see a couple pieces leaning right there, a seedling leaning there, and one there, and that's fine. I only need 1 seedling out of the peaches and cream corn to survive the transplant because they were rather large. So I'm going to take my garden shears and cut off the ones that don't make it. The squash looks pretty good. I mentioned in the comment section of my last video that I will be taking this bed and dividing it Actually, I'm gonna move it about 2 feet away, more feet away from the fence line here, and I'll move it this way. And this plum tree right here, this is also going to be moved to the other side of the food forest, and I will bring this bed out this way. See that? My hand is right there. And also, I'm going to split it down the middle and have a 1.5 foot walkway so that I can harvest on each side. Now, I only did it this way because I had to use the resources that I had, and I'm on a fixed income. So I've been spending a lot of extra money on my emergency garden to donate food, and I could only afford 8 bags of soil, so I had to use what I have. And I'm going to take the rest of the corn. I'll show it to you in the greenhouse in a minute. I'm going to take the rest of the corn and put it in a large blue container. But I want to share with you the reason why I'm going to move this back a couple of feet, because I'm going to need to be able to walk around the greenhouse to put the plastic cover on late fall, early winter. But this was temporary, and I thought I could utilize those bricks right there as a border for the bed to keep the soil contained, because usually I have to make a real high elevated, at least 11 or 12 inches off of the ground for garden beds, because we get so much rain during our rainy period, which can be between February and May. And this year it was extremely rainy. So hopefully we won't get too much rain and this corn will be okay. But this is just a temporary bed. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some soil that I'm going to use in the blue containers, which is right here. I have this soil and this soil and a little bit here, and I have some other containers that have soil in it. I'm going to try to save these 2 seedlings, even though I had them in full sun all day. I thought I'd just experiment with just 2 to see if, they would make it. Now, let's go to the greenhouse. You can see right here, I still have this corn. I'm going to put all of it in a 17-gallon pot, and I see that there's 1 butternut squash there. I'm going to try to transplant it in there as well as these 2 blue Hubbard squash, and there's a marigold. I am going to carefully scoop these up and put them to the side in a saucer, and I'll use this potty mix in here. Then I'll scoop these out, these corn seedlings, and put them to the side, and I'll use the rest of this potty mix into the container and add it with the potty mix that I just showed you, a little wood chips at the bottom. And yeah, I'm going to try to save this butternut squash. It looks a little weak. I'll plant that as well, but I'll take you along each step. Okay, I'm getting ready to transplant the rest of my corn seedlings into the 17-gallon pot. And as you can see here, I've drilled 6 holes on the outside, about 1 inch or maybe 1.5 inches from the bottom. This will create a reservoir. Now, I did the same thing on the other side. There are no holes in the bottom because I'm in Garden Zone 8A, Mesquite, Texas, and we get a very drought period, very hot period in the summer. So I'm holding this up to the sun to let you see that those holes are all the way through, because I drilled them from the outside and the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my shovel, go to the back of the food forest, and I'm going to put about 8 to 10 inches of wood chips. Okay. I'm sitting under my gazebo, and you can see here that I put about 8 inches of wood chips. And as I dug down into the soil, the more the chips were broken down. So I know that this is plenty of room for the corn to grow. So I wet it down, and now I'm getting ready to walk back to the edge of the food forest real quick and pick up those trays of soil. And I have one here where I harvested all the lettuce and gave it away. This container right here. So I'll put that in here. And I'll turn it so that if any roots were in there, they'll be at the bottom. I have my container as full as I want it because I want to allow room for the soil in here to go into this container when I scoop it out. I want you to know between each time I add soil, I thoroughly water this container because I want to make sure that it's draining well and nothing is running out of the hose. That it will be trapped and absorbed in the wood chips, which will allow the wood chips to break down. So now I'm going to put the phone down. You've seen me transplant before. I'm not going to prolong this video because it's getting long. I'm going to transplant the corn and the squash, and I'll come back and just show you the final result. Okay, YouTubers. Okay, I'm almost finished with this planter, but I thought I'll stop and do something that I've done in the past. And what I did was I took some aluminum foil and I'm going to fold it and I'm going to wrap it around deep down in the soil around the stems of these two butternuts. No, these are blue Hubbard squash. Seedlings. And I'm going to cover them up. It keeps the squash bug vine borders from penetrating inside, and the worms will get in there and it will eat your plant from the inside out. So research it, Google it, and find more information about it. And this is just going to be a precaution. The reason why I decided to do it on these two plants is because I'm sitting down and I wasn't going to bend down and do it in the garden bed behind the greenhouse. I'll come back when it's done. I doubled the foil and I made it like a funnel, and I'm pressing it down in the soil, but it has a lot of room. As the squash grows, the vine gets thicker, I can open it up and give it room to grow. It's not choking it off. Okay, so I'm just closing it a little bit, but I have plenty of room. Then I'm going to take soil and I'm just going to pack it around here, and then I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 more corn plants and I'll be done. But yeah, I'll put the other corn right here, and that'll put it in a circle. That way they can all pollinate each other. If you didn't know, corn is pollinated through the wind. When you see silky tassels at the top of your corn, this is the time when your corn will start actually developing. When the wind blows, the pollen on the tassel will shake loose and land on the silk. And each strand of the silk will develop a kernel of corn. So corn will actually self-pollinate through the wind. But if you live in an area and you don't get any wind, you can just gently shake your corn plants. So there's the finished product. I thought I'll just show you the finished product. Okay, and remember, this gets morning sun. So I'll move it over in the corner when I need to shade it, and it should be fine. Okay, so now let me give you an update on some of the emergency garden food and part of the food forest. As you can see, we pulled all the tomatoes. I mentioned that to you before. And I have the blue Hubbard squash surrounded by marigold, society garlic, and a lot of onion scraps. The pepper plants are doing very well. I'm just going to take you by that real quickly because I show you that all the time. But the sun is giving it a shadow. It's dark green. Let me go closer so you can see that. Okay. Here's my Miho Satsuma tree. It's in a pot. It's growing like crazy. I kept this tree in my greenhouse during the winter. This is the first time that it has set fruit. The fruit is doing well. It's getting to be a nice size. That's about the size of a mini golf ball, if there's such a thing. But it has a lot of fruit on it. And I noticed that the fruit was dropping from this area. So I think the fence right here is shading it out too much. Right here is where it was sitting, if you see that indentation. So I pushed it over and put it over here, and turned it so that this side will get more sun. Now, I don't want you to think that there's no fruit back here, because it is. As you can see right here, beautiful fruit. Lots of fruit. I am so excited about this Miho Satsuma because it was just a little twig when I bought it, and it's doing very, very well. But I figured that it needs a little bit more sun because you can see fruit dropping here. But I do know a general rule for fruit trees is it drops what it can't produce because it's concentrating on the roots too. But just in case it needed more sun, like I said, I moved it from here. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that right there in that spot is where I had originally planned to transplant this tree in the ground after I harvest the fruit. And right there in that circle, I dug down 2 feet and I added compost. And I've been doing that for 2 years, so it's really broken down. But since the roots of this tree is close to my fig tree, my black turkey fig tree, this tree has been growing like crazy. And I think it is because of the compost that right here is near to the roots of this tree. And if you would look closely with me, you'll see that it's loaded with figs. They're hiding. The fig tree leaves hide the fruit.
Where's the fruit? I thought you said it was loaded with pigs. Where's the fruit? Show me the fruit.
Now, I was sitting out here the other day, unless the squirrels got them last night. I see something's been biting on this leaf, right? This leaf right here. But I saw more figs than this, and now I can't find them. Maybe it was on the other side. But anyway, we're going to get a lot of figs this year. And I am very happy about the progress. And let me pan down to the bottom, because I'm going to trim off a lot of these leaves after I harvest the figs and root the cuttings. And I can see one right here. But it's more than that. I sat here and counted about 10 yesterday. But then again, like I said, it's probably on the other side of the tree. So I'm going to be cutting these lower limbs so I can see real good around here. And I'm going to root these limbs for cuttings as for my children. Now, I want you to know that if you're new to my channel, that I purchased 2 fig tree cuttings, brown turkey fig tree cuttings from eBay approximately 2 years ago, and they were the size pencil, a number 2 pencil. And this is what happened. And I have another one on the other side of the food forest, but I'm going to clean all this off around the bottom and root it for to give to my children, because I really don't like not being able to see what's around. I'm a little apprehensive about having that stay like that because I'm afraid of snakes. Emergency garden food here, which these are 3 containers that I got from the dollar store to grow my black eyed peas in. And you can look right in here. You can see that it's flowering, and that will turn into black eyed peas. My cucumbers are really producing. There's about 5 or 6 little tiny cucumbers on here, and it's a little lighter green than I would like it to be, but that is because of all the rain we got. It was just so much rain that, you know, it caused a problem. It caused stress cracks in this cucumber, but now it's still edible. I'll leave it on just a little bit longer, then I'll slice it up and have it in a salad. Now I'm gonna go over here and show you my, calamandan tree, and this is, I believe, the second year, and it has little spikes in it. They were very hard. When this tree first started producing these spikes or thorns, they were very, very sharp, very hard, and they were hurt. If you're new to my channel, I winterize my banana plants by taking the bananas and cutting them to about right here of the mini greenhouse. When I took the cover off in March, this looked like it was dead, but something told me to hold on because it's a dwarf tree, and I am so glad because, as you can see here, that it is beginning to grow nicely. The other banana trees, I did something different this year. Usually when I take them out of dormancy, I cut them about a couple inches straight across. I just whack them off with my machete. But this year, I didn't do it. And I'm going to step back and I'm going to show you that I am so glad that I didn't, because I have so much growth on them. I am further along this year than I was around this time last year. And the reason why I switched up my technique is because I got my first rack of bananas last year, but because we were expecting a frost, I had to harvest them green. But they did ripen in the house, and you can check my catalog. I have videos about it. But this year, I'm hoping that we will get more racks of bananas because they weren't hacked all the way down, and yeah, they should ripen in time before the fall or early winter. So I'm very happy about that. Now that it is getting warmer, or I should say hot, because it's already been warm, the okra plants are thriving. This one is getting ready to flower. And I noticed yesterday was one over here. Actually, it's two right here. And then this flower is actually emerging. So we are going to get okra soon. And this is all going to be donated. I have no intentions of growing any okra because I have a lot of it frozen. And so this is all emergency food. Now some of the flowers are not looking real cool. Again, it is because we got too much rain. It rained almost every day for 3.5 weeks straight. Here is it's an elderberry tree. I'm sorry. And the other mulberry tree, I put it back here because it looked like it was getting too much sun. Even though it's native to Texas, I think it'll do better in that corner. And I want you to know that this tree in this container will go in the ground in the fall. These two are already in the ground, and this one will go in the ground in the fall. And the elderberry actually is not a tree, it's a bush. I moved these two citrus trees. This is my Mexican key lime. I have two of them, one right here and one right here. They were right here in full sun, but I think that you can see they're yellowing a little bit, and it's not from a deficiency. Mexican key lime trees, when they're young, can't take a lot of sun or a lot of rain. I know that's unusual, but I've researched it, and trust me, that's the issue with these trees. They will probably go under the patio next year. Here are the improved Meyer lemons. They're doing great, and we're going to get a really nice harvest. But I will tell you something that I notice every year about these citrus trees. Grasshoppers love them. I don't even try to fight with them anymore. They will eat up the leaves, but they don't bother the fruit, so I'm not going to fight it. There's some things I will declare war with, certain insects, but the grasshoppers, I leave them alone. Unless, they're messing with my crops. If they're only going to eat the delicious smelling citrus leaves, go for it. You can see right here, let me show you, let me get in closer. You can see they ate up all those leaves right there. You can also see all those lemons. Actually, those are Mexican key limes. Those leaves were all eaten up. I'm not going to worry about little small things like that. As long as it allows me to get fruit, hey, have at it. Okay, let's turn around and let you see that the sweet potatoes are doing wonderful. I am training them, gently threading them in the trellis. And as you can see, the sun is coming up now. And here are the 2 containers of the Beauregard sweet potato slips. Again, I was not planning on growing any sweet potato slips. I have pressure canned enough for me for the whole year, but I'm growing these to donate. This concludes this video. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, and I'll bring you more of my food forest in my next video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and tell your friends about my channel. God loves you and I love you too. Thank you for watching. Bye now. The end.